We're live, it says.
It says we
Ta-da!
are live. So, hey tribe, Dawna here. And today we have a guest on our Transformational Healing Live. My dear sister Cricket, or Terry Owens. And we are going to chat about all kinds of things, but basically, Cricket said she wanted to interview me instead of me interviewing her when I asked her to come on the live. So basically, she's going to be putting me on the spot, and we'll see how it goes. So if you are here, make sure that you let us know that you're here in the comments. We are going to be using the phone to get comments because it is very difficult for us to see our screen that is here. We are outside.
Do our best.
Yep. We're at Brushwood Folklore Center, enjoying lots of days of doing nothing, right? Lots of days of doing nothing. Hey.
Beautiful days of
just
doing nothing.
enjoying doing nothing. So, enjoying being. So, I guess. Hi.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. What I wanted to do, yes, I put Dawna on the spot when she asked me this, but there's a reason. Because for those of you in the tribe that were part of her Earth Week celebration and questionnaires and prompts for cleaning and all of that wonderful stuff, right? We won different little percentages off and had shopping sprees. And so about, I don't know what, a week later, I got this amazing box in the mail. And I thought, as I'm opening it, oh, maybe I'll do one of those unboxing videos. But right, I was like scary pajama lady, so it wasn't happening. And I regret that because Dawna sends out the most beautiful packages. If you've ever gotten one, there's all of this like opening and beautiful bags and containers. And it was just an entire box of joy. So I wanted to interview you about what goes into specifically your aromatherapy products, because I also had a bunch of like beautiful cleaning supply aromatherapy stuff, but I splurged on the spiritual aromatherapy stuff for myself, the moon set and the elements and the wheel of the year. I got all three, right? And unfortunately, I brought them with me, but I can't find them. So we're going to pretend that I'm smelling these amazing things because they're so fabulous.
Yes, because I definitely don't have them with me.
Right? No, they're somewhere. Anyway, so I wanted to know about, because I do aromatherapy, but I don't work with like gemstones and I don't do the same type of things you did, which is why I wanted to purchase them myself so I could learn more and why I want to interview you. See, this is about you guys, but it's all about me. So I want to know. So let's start, because we just had the full moon. Let's start with the moon.
Start with the moon.
Yeah.
I only pulled out my cheat sheets.
I know, right?
For the elementals, because
okay, then let's start.
I have so many. No, I'll pull them out.
Okay,
right, they're here.
Okay.
So, I use correspondence books and experience for a lot of the things, but for some of them, they are more just intuitive or given to me. I don't know how to explain that anymore. I'll get into that in a little while.
I feel like something intuitive is something that we're compelled to use or do or say or think about that we know didn't come from inside us. Like it floated by and we went, hey, here's an idea. Let me consider that.
Yeah. And that's, how some of that works, especially when it comes to the focus. The focus blend was very specific. Like I literally went to bed with a problem in my head. My niece has really bad ADHD and she was having problems in college and she needed some essential oils. She wanted some essential oils to help her. So, I know the essential oils that could work for that. Right. But I was like, I need to figure out this blend so I can make this blend tomorrow. This is what I'm doing. And I know the crystals that can help with that. And so I have that stuff in my head. It's not like it's not in my head at all. But I literally went to sleep with the problem and woke up with this number of drops of this number of drops of this number of drops of this, put them in this order, have this in your head, and like the whole entire spell, recipe, whatever you want to call it, was right there. And I immediately wrote it down as fast as I freaking could before it was gone. And so I created it and I gave it to her and it worked perfectly. And I was like, okay. So then I gave it to a bunch of other people that I
You said some
knew
to me for my
also
son-in-law,
had
yes.
squirrel. What?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? What were we talking about?
How you come up with
and
recipes.
yeah, and
Squirrel.
then it worked for all of them. So then I turned it into focus and gave it a name because it focuses. And inner
Mm-hmm.
peace was the same way. You know, I said the world is chaos right now, and I need something that helps people instantly ground and center. So it's I don't need my ground oil, which I had already had for 20 years. I don't need, you know, like a bliss type. I just need people to just
Yeah.
and just pull yourself back. And so the same thing. I woke up with a recipe in my head. And when you use that in the oil, but when you use it in the spray, you can literally just like feel all your energy just go boink.
I
And you
need
feel at
that.
peace, you know, like, and it really creates that inner peace. And it
Yeah.
works with tons of different people. So every
Nice.
time I come up with a recipe, besides if it's an anointing oil like for the moon or something, I make sure if it's supposed to help people with something, I send it to lots of people or try it with lots of people first before it becomes a product. But
Nice.
other things like the elementals or the moons or the sabbats and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, I do it according to correspondences and research.
Right.
You know, the other things are research too, but not, you know, quite as much.
Mm-hmm.
They're not tested, I guess. The Sabbat ones aren't tested. I mean, if someone told me it didn't work or had a problem with the Sabbat oil, I guess I'd be like, okay, you know, but they all seem to work well.
Right.
They
Well,
just seem
I
to
think
balance because other people have done research too. And
yes,
then you,
especially if you're going with research and history and historical and
Yeah.
magical uses and things like that. Those are like hundreds and hundreds of years old, some of that information.
right.
So it's
And
pretty much
I rely on it.
right. What is egregore, where an entire, like if enough people are invested in a system that works, it works.
It works. And
Mhm.
don't question it. Or, well, question it, but.
Great question, but understand that it comes from a deep history. It's not
Yeah.
just
And the
something
same thing
Dawna
with-
thought up on the way to the grocery store.
No, definitely not. So I'm trying to find the Sabbath oils. There they are. All right. So they're now all accessible to me. So you wanted to talk about the moon ones?
I did just popped into my head
Yeah.
because it was just the full moon, right? And walking out around here and seeing your moon shadow and hearing the drums and the fight, just it really like gives you just such a sense, right? We don't get the same feeling at our house in the town we live in, right? There's buildings and you don't have this wide field of the moon and all of this sense.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So, if you guys are watching, then let us know. Right now, it doesn't look like any questions.
Oh, Aaron Fritz is watching. Love you both. Hello,
love
Aaron.
you too,
We
Aaron.
love you too.
Hope
Sweetie.
you're doing good. I know your BD is coming up very soon.
So okay, so there's
all
the
right.
full moon.
So these are the recipes, and you know how I write everything out for all the different recipes and things. But for the full moon, bergamot just has that like balancing aspect. To me, it has like, you know, it's in both the focus and that inner, I think it might be even in the inner peace one as well, or maybe it's in joy. I can't remember which one it's, but I know it's in
the
focus.
Joy one. Oh, so beautiful.
And bergamot is like, it has, you know, the orange and the essence, but it has that little bit of flow, like it's watery to me. And it's flowy, so it seems to help to like balance and smooth. So, and it's often used with the full moon in research. So that was, you know, bergamot is in there because of that.
Okay.
The other things, cedarwood and juniper are in there for that grounding, earthy, you know, you got to pull, even though cedarwood has, and they have that higher scent, they're a high note, but they still ground.
Right.
Because
they're that earthy, like
they're
undertone.
trees, you know, that the coniferous trees. And then sweet orange it's also just commonly used with the moon. So just a little splash of, you know, sweet orange in there. And then frankincense and myrrh, because, you know, you got to raise that vibe a little bit, put that protection energy out. put
Okay.
that soothing energy and help you to, like meditate. But so you're staying grounded. You have the meditation aspect of the higher of the sandalwood and the myrrh, but you're also have that balance with the citruses in there that help you to open up your senses. So I found that, all of them were commonly used for the full moon, and that was my blend. So that gives you the low, the middle, and the higher notes, and
That's
the aspects for magic too.
that
So
part I like is that you're including, you have like the bottom, middle, and higher notes
yes,
magically and energetically
yeah.
speaking,
So I
right?
try
Like
to do
in
it both.
yeah, like in Aromatherapy 101 and so forth, right? When I was in herb school, we learned the exact the middle, low, and high notes and the blenders and the activators and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
magical exploration was kind of on our own. And so I realized that I have like a new level to explore for myself listening to you talk.
Yeah, listening to all the magical
Yeah.
aspects of them as well as the aromatherapy
Like I know the
aspects.
magical lists and I know which ones to use for whatever prosperity, things that I'm looking for. But to consider them, blending them that way so
Yeah.
that you're focusing on being grounded and also bringing yourself up in and then expanding out
Yeah.
into what the moon energy is. Oh,
Yeah.
let's do another one.
So, new moon, to me, the new moon has always been about those florals. So, I mean, you can use rose and jasmine and stuff like that for the full moon, and a lot of people do, but just lavender, jasmine, and rose, and this a little hint of angelica
I like
to
that.
do that, so you're still not flying off, but it's giving you that bliss type of essence when it's at the new moon.
Okay.
So it's, because it's the dark of the moon, and it's, you're kind of, if you're energetically connected to the moon, you're going to be like cycling down and letting go of things and releasing. And this is new moon, and it's like, let's fill ourselves with bliss.
Right.
But that
Like
little tad
just
of angelica is just
tender
a little bit of
flowers.
something, yeah, and just lets you, blossom a little bit. It prepares you to blossom back out as the new moon and to build your energy back up for the new moon. So that's why I went with that. And these are the same things that I put in, the sprays if I make them, or the bath salts. So I
you
make
could do ritual
these
baths with the same energy.
Yeah, it's the same exact blends, but with a bath salt, I'll actually have lavender, rose, and jasmine flowers in with the bath salt as well. Or, some cedar. I probably do cedar, juniper, orange, and probably something else in the bath salt. I might add something else because I add the herbs.
I feel like I need bath salts now.
And then I make the incenses too. So I might be grabbing herbs that I would put in the incenses to put in the bath salt. That it might not be the same. The essential oils are identical, but the herbs that I choose to put in the bath salt might not match the essential oils, but they'd correspond, and they'd be the things I'd be putting in the loose incense that we burn on the
So if I wanted, like if I had something really important that I was considering and wanted to do like a full on, personal little thing for myself, I could get like the bath salt and the anointing oil and the incense and set up and have it all correspond together. And see, this is why I could make things for myself, but this is why it's so fun to like interview and learn from your friends.
It's empowering to make your own things too, especially when you're doing it for ritual. But if you don't have access to all of the things, then this makes it easy for you to have the time to do the ritual and focus on the ritual and have everything ready.
Yes. Like I did that one time. We did a whole bunch of ritual stuff. And the very first one we were doing, right, there were a bunch of us and it was this year-long thing. And I remember being like so specific about my altar placement and my words and stuff, right? I was like knocking over the cup and I almost missed the like spiritual gift that I was given. So concerned with all the thing. So yeah, just to be able to like spend that time setting my intention for myself and then pull out these beautiful things that were made so lovingly with correspondence and stuff.
And they all have the intentions built into them, but I do make the intentions generic. So I'm making it with the intention of the full moon or with the intention of the new moon or with the intention of grounding, if I'm making the grounding oil or the grounding spray. But you have to add your own intention when you're using them so that it's more specific.
Right. Kind of to amplify the intention of the user.
Exactly. Yep.
Excellent.
I do have the lunar, because they're in that kit. I
Uh-huh.
have the lunar and the solar eclipse. And I only, so the new moon and the full moon, I tend to make, you can remake it whenever you need it. I make sure I have enough for each month, and you make it on the new moon. I make it on the full moon. But the lunar and the solar eclipse, I can only make during the lunar and the solar eclipse. And so I have to actually be available to make it and need to make it. So there's a chance that, I might run out of the lunar and solar eclipse, because I can only make them usually a couple times a year.
Right.
So I don't go with it has to be a total, it doesn't have to be a total eclipse. It can be a partial eclipse. You're pulling in that eclipse energy.
Right.
And anytime that I make something that's like, like these types of things that are associated with transitions, or even the Sabbats. So when I make the Sabbats, I'm not making the Yule incense and the Yule oil on Yule. The first time I made it on Yule. But what I do is I'll burn a little bit of the Yule incense and have that intention, and I never run out of the incense. So I'm always adding to the original incense that was created on Yule with the intention, with all the incenses, and to keep it going. But because you guys need it for Yule. So if I'm running low and all of a sudden in the middle of summer, people are ordering Yule incense because they're celebrating Yule down in, well, we're having midsummer, they're celebrating Yule in Australia. Then I make sure, that so I don't make enough for the whole entire year. I'd rather have it fresh.
Right. Small batch. Yeah.
Small batches. I try to stay with the small batches. And the oils, I don't want tons of oils first, but I make enough that I think I can make it to the next thing. But yeah, so I just burn a little bit of whatever and put yourself totally in that, like you're in that moment that it is Yule, that you're celebrating Yule, and then you make the Yule
energy
oil.
that
You have the energy of it, even though I'm not making it on it. But
like
these
that.
two,
See, I'm so glad I interviewed you, because I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, but these two are only made on the solar and lunar eclipse. So if I'm out here at Brushwood enjoying the, full solar eclipse, we're gonna have, is it lunar eclipse or solar eclipse in next April?
Solar,
there's a big one.
Yeah,
it's the big solar eclipse is going to be next April, and we're going to have a big gathering because it's literally going to be total and going right over Brushwood.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, she's going to have a gathering in April.
Southern part of Indiana is just off the total, but maybe we'll come up here and be with friends and see the total.
So I will not be making the solar eclipse unless I bring the stuff with me.
Well, you know what? With you and let it sit in the energy, and then put it together later, because we've had that with Laughing Ladybug, because we do everything by the astrology,
right?
So Casey always casts a chart, and sometimes he'll be like, well, Thursday's a great day, but like Thursday's packed, so everything will get together on the workspace, right? The lab will get set up, whatever he can do, but because he has to sit with the lab, you can't just turn it on and go do chores and stuff, right? So the energy is there.
Oh, so he does all the prep. That's awesome.
Because it's the same as it's setting the intention, like you just said. As soon as you set the intention and you put things in that space, and I mean, like when we were living with teenagers, it was like, you guys have to go argue outside today. Right? So maybe you could do the same thing. Have them come and sit with you in the eclipse, and then put them all together in space afterwards.
Yeah. The other thing is, when I make all these oils, so like Cricket can see the actual like recipes in front of her, but I don't care. I shall tell anybody.
Right? So, they should be on billboards.
So if it says it's it's 2 drops of this, 2 drops of that, 3 drops of this, 1 drop of this, that's because when I make, I didn't even have a little vial. What do I have? I have a present I was giving to someone. Not the chapstick. So I have a single roller ball of amber oil in my pocket. So if I'm going to make the amber oil, which I don't make the Sabbats and the elements and the lunar in the roller balls, I just use the little tiny dram bottles with the open top. But like the focus and all of those are made in the roller balls.
Right. You use them often.
The amber oil is literally just amber resin. I put a certain amount of amber resin in the bottom with the sweet almond oil and just mix it continuously with the intention of, happiness and bliss and wonderful goddesses that like amber. So, but I don't make the oil, like I don't measure out 3 cups of oil and then drop the essential oils in. I line up all my little dram bottles and I count how many drops of each oil and what the intention of that oil is into every single vial. Putting the crystals in first and then putting the essential oils on the crystals if I'm using crystals or herbs. Some of the, you'll see when we get to the sabbats, some of them have like little pieces of herb in them. I put those in first.
Okay.
And then I put, so I need 2 drops of cedar. Then I 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I count all the way across.
Oh, wow.
And then when they all have the essential oils, then I have a tiny little baby beaker. Like, it's little, it's so cute. It's just a little tiny beaker. You guys have probably seen it in some of the videos. And I literally fill each one.
Oh, wow.
With the oil. So they're it's not like I'm making a big batch blend and then filling all the stuff.
Bottles. Yeah.
I'm literally making each individual bottle on its own.
That
and then
is
then I shake them all and put the intention into every single bottle as I put the lid on and fill them with the intention. So yeah, I make them all individually.
Wow, because we make our cricket oil.
Yeah.
But it's a big batch bottle. And then I do fill them small and silver, but that is a lot of magical intention. That's really neat to know.
Yeah. So it keeps me busy. And I do, like I see people make them the other way, and that's just my, like I want to make the small batches.
Like for magically,
I want to make it being the same. Yeah. I want to make every bottle identical. So it's not this mass produced thing. So that's why I do it that way. The hand sanitizer, on the other hand, like I make a big container of it, and I mix all the thieves oil because it's hand sanitizer with thieves essential oil. So I mix the thieves in a separate little container.
Yes,
and I make the amount. Too. I make the amount of thieves that I need for, and I put the alcohol and the water, that to make it the 75% stuff, because I use what is it? It comes already as the 100 proof or whatever, and I water it down to be the 70%.
The isopropyl or the
can't remember.
Like Everclear.
Oh no, not Everclear. No, I bought it specific for it. Oh, I can't.
I didn't know you make hand sanitizer. Your Thieves Blend smells amazing.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it right now. I'll post it below what we use for that. For my tinctures, I use organic pure sugarcane alcohol. So I buy that in vats. But the hand sanitizer stuff I was also buying in vats, but it's pure. It's like some type of isopropyl.
Yeah, there's 2 different
really
ones that
high.
are. Yeah, it's the higher percentage.
The really
ones,
high
like
percentage.
Or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have to make it at the right percentage, because it's not 70% where you want it. It's much higher than that. So I have to make it like I do the tinctures.
Right.
They all start at 98 point whatever percent, and I have to water them down to make them, So you guys aren't drinking pure sugarcane alcohol in tinctures? Bummer.
So tell us about the sabbats.
The sabbat?
Yes, I'm excited.
Awesome.
I mean, I know my sabbats and I know my oils and stuff, but I'm getting that there's just so much amazingness, that like the next level of information for me to explore for myself.
So the sabbats, I started out, I probably have been making these sabbat oils for 25 years.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, over time, they've altered and changed a little bit. Like, I didn't used to put the herbs in them. So about 10 or 15 years ago, I started putting a little bit of the, the herb for each one in. But, these are just long time recipes. So how I came up with these recipes, I can tell you, is probably just from a lot of research, from, going through stuff and, over time, reading books about the sabbats, celebrating the sabbats, knowing what I would put in the incenses and that kind of thing.
Right.
And then just combining them. So you have candle moss is how I start them on here. I guess I do Yule last. So we start with Imbolc or candle moss, which is Bridget's Day. And to me, I make those oils, like for Bridget, because of my connection with her. The oils and the incense are both made with that intention. They both also help a lot with that spring cleaning clearing out your crap energy from, you know, like giving you that spark, that flame to start, if you've lost it through the winter, to bring that little bit of creativity, but also letting go of all the crap you don't need anymore.
Right.
So it's chamomile, frankincense, sandalwood, and rosemary with a single frankincense tear in the bottom of the bottle. So you get the frankincense and sandalwood to help raise your vibration, to raise your spirit. The rosemary is used as protection, but it's also used as one of the cleansing herbs. Rosemary is. So it brings you that essence of, you know, like clearing out a space. A lot of people use rosemary to smudge, but it gives you a little bit of that protection vibe. And then the chamomile gives you that tiny little bit of spark of flame, spark of sun. But rosemary is also a fire. Like if you were to